Hey, and welcome back to the STAGERBOSS YouTube channel. Today I have a client spotlight interview. I'm so excited to introduce this woman. Her name is Sarah Atherton. She is the founder of Staged Spaces and she is part of our Staging Business Secrets program. She's actually one of our OGs, one of the originals that joined our program. And Sarah, when she joined our program, actually had a staging business. Her business had been operating for 6 months. She had no clients. She was struggling to get one. And then within a month of joining our program, she secured her very first staging client. And now her business has just went from strength to strength. In 2023 alone, she'd staged over 50 properties, mainly staging for sale, and it is quite the feat. I love her story, I love her energy, and I love her transparency. She just shares it all, and her business has doubled in revenue in just 12 months. So she's an incredible inspiration. I'm so proud of everything that she's achieved. She's certainly a standout in our community by supporting our other women, and hopefully you when you join our Stager Boss community. I'm so excited to introduce her, chat with her, and share this interview with you. Let's dive in. Welcome to the call, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, my darling. That's very lovely words just there, Liv. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's nice to hear that about yourself, isn't it? We don't hear it every day.
No, it is, it's really nice. And I think sometimes it's really, you look back. I mean, I was getting a few figures and stats ready for you for today, and you look back and you kind of go, whoa, yeah, that wasn't actually that long ago, but this is how far we've come. So yeah, there's been a few landmarks this year where we've just sort of gone, okay, there's been times where it's been, oh my God, what have I done? I've created a monster. Stop the world. I want to get off. But you keep going and you keep going and it all works out and you're good and it's fine. And you move on to the next challenge and journey. And yeah, everything's good. So
I love that. I love it. Right. So let's just dive in right at the beginning of your journey. Like before you found myself and Stager Boss, what did life look like? What did you do? What were you
ooh.
working on? Was the business a thing at that point? Tell us.
So the business was kind of a thing. Previous to becoming a stager, I had worked in retail marketing for most of my adult life as a visual merchandiser and a window dresser. And home staging was something I'd seen as an idea, and I kept thinking, oh, I'd really like to do that. And my skill set's so transferable. I work with huge, massive spaces at the minute, and I love interiors and I love property. Right from early years, I would always be in like the local paper sections on a Saturday because I didn't have Rightmove and stuff. I'm old. So I love looking at people's houses and just sort of always had that sort of, I never wanted to be an interior designer. Didn't fit. But when home staging came out, one of the biggest joys for me is the result of when the client gets that offer, when they get that sale for whatever journey they're on. And as much as the transformation is fabulous, you stand back and when the client comes in and go, wow, that when they ring and they said that we've accepted an offer and we've come more pleased, and that for me, that's what I do it for. That's what I loved about my retail marketing job. It was all about the sales, how you can make people buy, what works. So I see it very much as a marketing strategy. And so I was working for a very large retailer, a very unhappy, working stupid hours to working. I'd be head office based, but then in stores implementing. I'd be in at like 4 a.m. and then working overnight shifts sometimes just to make sure things, would be done when there was no customers in there. Retail and the high street, I'd just fallen out of love with it. It changed so dramatically from when I'd first joined. So much more was online and the cutbacks in the stores were not great. And I ended up getting signed off with work-related stress just before lockdown hit. And because I was so unhappy and I just broke down in tears one day. Oh, I can't do this anymore. And then lockdown hit and I had 3 teenagers to homeschool. And I was like, oh, this is driving me crazy. And then I thought, right, okay, my husband said to me, this is the time for you. You can do something with this. Why don't you start learning? So I started researching and looking at home staging. And he says, is it something I can actually do? He's like, yeah, just do it. So we launched a business. And I said we, because at the time I had a partner in crime, a friend I'd had for 25 years, as you well know. We joined the program together and Stage Status was born. And we kind of got a logo and got a website. Oh, wow, we've got a business. And it didn't work like that. It's not that easy. And I think, it took us 7-8 months, I think, to get our Paula. And it was just by which time we'd met you and we'd enrolled on your course. And that was so we launched in August of 2020. We joined your course in January 2021. Stages Business Secrets. We'd done the free sort of leading up course. And I said to Hannah, this is something I'm going to invest in. This girl, I just, she knows her stuff. And there's so much detail in the back end of the business. The actual layouts and the styling, that's my bread. I can do that. It's, how do I run a business? How does this work? Social media, how do I, market myself through? I'm old, I've got Facebook to put pictures of my kids and my dogs, but how do we then sell ourselves through social media? And then we did a few stages. And then in September 21, it became very apparent that Hannah and I were going in very different directions with the business. For me, I still do it now. I work really every day. Even if it's just an hour of checking, I will work every day. There's some days I work ridiculous hours, but to deliver, we've done stages where we've done an overnight stage just to help a client. It's been local, and I think because her children were younger than mine, she had a very different, she wanted to kind of do a 10 till 2 job. Owning your own business isn't a 10 till 2 job. And it came that I was doing most of the work and everything. And then when we did start to make a small profit, we'd sort of come to an agreement that wherever the hours were split, that's where the profit would be split. And that didn't go down well. So September 21, where I kind of really felt that I could implement everything I wanted to do, that I could go in the direction I wanted. And as much as it was born, 11 months earlier, Stage Spaces, that's the time I really felt, okay, I went back through Staging Business Secrets. I kind of went, this is what I'm doing. And then from then it's rocketed. And yeah, here we are now. And it's a little bit mad, but I'm loving every moment of it. Sometimes, most of the time actually, yeah, but there's times it's still really overwhelming. And yeah, I'm going to stop waffling now to let you ask another question.
Wow. I mean, it's quite the story, isn't it? And yeah, I think you've embodied well there that it is like you can sometimes build this beast and you're like, oh my God, what have I done here? Even though you love it, it's also quite big as well. And that can come with its own challenges to run, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, did you have any idea that this is where you would be sitting today when you embarked on this journey, right? I say this all the time. You have no idea how your life can change in 12 months if you go all in this and you actually start in this journey, right?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, starting off, it was like, oh, if we can get sort of, maybe 6, one every 2 months, that would be brilliant. And then it was over then September of 2021, I was kind of going, you know what, I want to do 2 a month. That's where I want to be. And that we kind of achieved that. And then we sort of hit September of this year, and we've gone from maybe doing 2 or 3 a month, which I thought was amazing, to now we're doing 2 or 3 a week some weeks. There was one week we turned around 9 stages in October of last month. We did 5 stages in 9 days, and it was a lot. And it kind of comes like that. And that's what I'm realizing with the business is seasonal dips. I looked back earlier at like July was just, and then, but suddenly August started ramping, and then September, and then October. And then we were like, whoa, okay, I'm just going to have to keep sourcing kits because I haven't got any stock left. I haven't got any inventory. We've gone from having to move warehouse, which we're in the process of doing now, but took a while because we were so overloaded with the inventory, to literally, I am moving probably 3 sofas and 5 beds and then a little bit of other stuff because I literally have no stock left. I'm on a hamster wheel, source all the time. So, it's been brilliant, but it's like I'm always learning and I'm always adapting and always pivoting. And what can we do better? How can we work this out? And it's a challenge, but I absolutely adore it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you summed it up so well there in terms of like what the staging business is like. Some days, like You do have those peaks and troughs in your business, of course. And, the summer months do tend to be those quieter months just because people go on holiday. So it's totally normal that you're seeing that in like a July. But yeah, sometimes your warehouse can be like really full. And then the next day, all of it's booked to go out. And that is the fast paced sort of nature of the business. We're the exact same as well, especially on staging for sale side, is that one week can be like, oh, we've got a few stages in. And then all of a sudden you got like 15, and it's all happened
Yeah.
in like the space like 48 hours, and you're like, whoa. So this is for someone, staging is for someone who likes that fast-paced world. And you touched on earlier that you said that you were looking at your skill set being a visual merchandiser, but interior design wasn't for you. And I think it's because it's that little bit slower, isn't it? What was it, Sarah, that attracted you to home staging rather than interior design?
I think with interior design, I think it's very much a personal taste of the client, and you're designing for them to live in. And I blast this out on my social media all the time because I would get people going, "Oh, we will get some clients where it's like, well, I would like this," and I always explain it's not what I would like, it's not what you would like, it's what your target buyer is going to buy into. It's that lifestyle. And I think that's what I like, is that challenge. I think as an interior designer, sometimes you have a specific style and you're kind of known for that style. What I love about staging is every week we are creating different designs, we're working in different properties. We're working, I mean, I would say I have sort of really sort of, my niche is empty properties, and it's affordable empty properties. When I first launched the business, we sat between two very established staging companies that are very premium. So I wanted to offer something very different. And that's what I think I've done. We do a few properties sort of between sort of 850 to 1.2, but that's where I will sort of draw, and I'll go, no, I'm not the stager for you. If you wanted me to do a £3 million house, that's not where my inventory sits. So I'll end up buying a load of inventory that I will never use again. So I love the versatility, I love the challenge, and I love the fast pace of it. And I think with design, it's very much, I did some interior styling when I first started out, and I find it really, really hard sometimes. I think I'm great with customers. It's my retail background. I love working with people. But when you've got an interior design styling client and they really can't communicate, and I'm not in their head, and you're going back with mood boards after mood boards, and it's still quite not what I want, and then they'll sign it off and then they'll change their mind. And for me, it's not what I enjoy doing. The same with occupied staging. I've done a few occupied stages. I'm actually doing one next week, but that's because it's for an estate agent I work with a lot, and it's a little bit of a favor, but they're not for me. And it's just trial and error. But empty properties is our niche, and that's why we sort of upscaled our warehouse to cope with inventory, and we've got our own van now. And yeah, that's the difference for me. Interior design is to someone who wants to stay there. Interior, home staging is very different. So yeah,
I love
that's
that.
me.
It was very eloquently put there, Sarah. I love it. Yeah, I just can't be bothered
No,
with
I'm a
people's
proper
opinions.
whopper.
Like I can't be bothered like with people's opinions on it. Like I want to do my own style, my own look, and kind of, as you said, for that end buyer. And that is like total alarm bells for us when we've got a client who wants to like choose all the artwork or put some sort of input into the cushions that are going in. It's like, that doesn't work here. We're
No.
not the company for you. And that is, I love that you said that. Like you've niched into something specifically. Most people have a fear that if they niche into one thing, that they're cutting off all other avenues of business. That's a good thing. That's a good thing to be known as the niche specialist, expert in that space. But what I also love is that there was no ego there with you, that you were happy to serve as one part of the market that might not be the most glamorous in the world, but you were like, that's when I want to be. And that's when I'm like nailing my sort of post in the ground. This is what I do. And I would definitely say that's part of your success, is the fact that you have niched into that. So tell us some of the figures and everything that you've been preparing for us. I want to hear them.
Well,
Let's hear the data.
well, it's quite exciting. So I've got last year. So last year We actually did the 6 figures in the 12 months, but it wasn't in my year end. We
And
had
that's
the
absolutely
fabulous
fine.
I know. And so we ended up, and I was like, oh, just missed it. So we ended up on 87K turnover last year, which was
Amazing.
great. And there was a profit out of it, which I was really pleased with because we had bought a lot. So far this year, I've just built it, and we staged 34 properties. This year already, we have staged 44. We've got another 5 to go this year. And I've just had a call this morning, so I'm hoping we can grab to that 50 properties. I like to set myself targets. So, and in terms of turnover year to date since April of this year, that's because that's the beginning of our tax year, we are sitting at 162,000.
Wow, like a double, and that's from
Yeah.
April, and it's like that's like month 4, and we're on like month 11, so it's only like 7 months.
Yeah.
And you were doing like
So
87 and 12, which is absolutely insane growth.
yeah, I think
Like
I just look
200%
back.
growth, if not more.
Yeah, which is amazing. I just said to my husband before I came on the call, if I added this up, he's like, it's good, you're fine. So, oh my gosh, okay. I knew we were busy, but sometimes when you're so busy, you just kind of, and I will say some of those were Airbnbs. So obviously the cost of the Airbnb isn't, that's then a purchasing cost. So it's turnover rather than profit. But I've had 5 Airbnbs in there, and the rest is
Wow.
just all sell. So that's good. And yeah, going forwards, we're looking. I had a great meeting yesterday. I have got 11 Airbnb units to do for one of my clients who I've done 5 properties for before. So they're looking to all be in before March of next year. There's an interesting pivot on this one that he's got contacts in Dubai and Turkey. So we might have to go and do a sourcing trip over there. Which is like, okay, whatever.
Okay,
So
if it has to be me, I'll
okay,
volunteer as tribute.
absolutely. So yeah, and then I think we're finding at the moment is that it's that whole coming up to Christmas time, and people are sort of thinking, do we wait till the new year? So the way we are, and this is something again I've learned from your training, is I'm not advertising the fact till I know how many kits I've got back in at the moment. However, we are with our renewals where people extend, we're offering like a couple of weeks free, and anybody coming in on like a 6-week, because that's where we start from. We start from 6 weeks rental. We are flexible, but that's where we start. We're offering an extra 4 weeks free over that Christmas period. So I'm not sort of blasting it out on social media because I'm a little bit scared in case I've got no inventory left and I'm having to source madly over Christmas. But anybody that sort of signs up, I'll say, right, we'll do this. And then you can launch Boxing Day and you have got it till this date. So that's the way we're trying to drive those last few sales in for before the end of the year. So, but obviously it's only the calendar year and not the financial year. So if I can
Love
get
it.
to 200 this year, I would be over the moon. By the end of March, that would be
I
fabulous. But
I think you're gonna hit it. And you look, you're so humble even saying like, oh, some of those were essays. I mean, come on, toot your own horn. You're doing absolutely incredible. You're gonna hit that 200K mark. And that's the thing, like staging does actually look like it brings your revenue down, but your profit percentages are higher in staging for sales. So your percentages are much higher there than they are in the SA market. So I absolutely love that. Now, for people listening, Sarah, they're going to want to know, right, Sarah is on track. Well, let's say you've staged 15, 12 months because you're 100% going to hit that and exceed that. Where is this business coming from? Is this coming from social media? Is it word of mouth? Is it partnerships? Where is your business coming from?
I get this asked a lot. I get a lot of calls, messages from other stages at the moment. How come you're so busy? A lot of it is now repeat work and referral. And for me, that was always where I wanted to build the business. We're actually starting to get estate agents reaching out saying, can I work with you? Whereas for like the first 12 months, I was like, oh, I'd really like to work with you. And they'd be like, no, we don't need that. And I think now the market's changing. There's becoming, in our area especially, a lot more self-employed agents. They want to offer a better service. They want to stand out from the regular sort of national estate agents. We also work with a lot of developers. So we're in a lot of the time before estate agents, and a lot of agents are now cracking onto that. And I've had at least 2 or 3 saying, can you do us some introductions? And it's kind of like, okay. So Yeah, so social media has been massive for me. It has been huge. I do not like old-fashioned networking where I stand in a room of people and I have 60 seconds to sort of stand up and say, hi, I'm Sarah. And it's not for me. And I know some people really adore it, but I just always feel like I'm sort of maybe an AA meeting or something. It's not for me at all. And even though I love talking to people and I'm really bubbly, and you'll know from before, I do amateur dramatics and I do stage, I'm in panto at the weekend, and that is different to me selling my business. And I did do networking when I first started out, and I went to a lot of different, and I think now it's also a time thing for me, but it's not something I enjoy. I much sooner build relationships in a one-to-one. So when I have a new agent that's launched in my area, I will always reach out to them on social media. I will always follow them. I'll always follow that up with a little message. And it won't be, here, this is me, come and use my services. It's like, hi, great to see how you're doing. If you fancy a chat, we're both in the same area sometimes, just really casual. Everyone, any advice on staging, give me a shout. And sometimes they kind of ignore it and you're ghosted. And other times they're like, do you know what? Brilliant. I'd love to know more about what you do. And other times they just keep you on the back burner. And then all of a sudden you'll get a call and they'll be going, I've watched what you're doing. Can you help me with this? And it's great. I mean, we had one client this year that contacted me in January, and we literally didn't stage his property until October of this year. And we were ghosted for like 8 months. And it was kind of fine. And I just sort of every so often just fire a little note saying, hey, we're still here if you need us. And yeah, they came back, and it was it was a 5-bedroom premium property for us to stage, £885,000. And, property that we've staged, we've done a really good job. He actually works in the letting sector, so he's got a lot of property contacts. And that was just one of those things that sometimes it's a slow burner, but social media and following the consistency that you train on has been absolutely key. And I think even though I now have a lot of repeat customer referrals, I never drop the ball on it. I'm always still there, sort of, hi, we're here, this is what we do. I don't think there's ever any room for sort of, it's not even a complacency, it's like, stop. I still sort of graft as if I'm just starting the business. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons that we do get the work coming in and we're successful, because it's even when we're busy and it's really hard, you're thinking, oh God, I've got to post something. I don't maybe do 7 days a week now, but I also always make sure I'm 3 to 5 days a week at least.
Yeah, I love that. So mainly through referrals and then also social media. And, as you said, like you're not a big fan of networking. And look, I've never been a fan of it. I used to drive to networking events like an hour away, sit outside and they'd be like, I can't go in. Just couldn't bear to go in. Most of the time I did, but I do remember once I did drive an hour, sat outside it, and then just drove back home. I was like, I just can't face this tonight. But yeah, it's finding what works for you. But there is one thing that works for everyone, and it's social media content, and it's having that consistent face out there that people know you exist. People say to me all the time, I've not got any clients. It's like, well, you've posted like 4 times in your life. No one knows who you are. You need to have that consistent presence in your market. And that's the thing, people get on this client hamster wheel, they get so busy. The first thing that goes out the window is sales and marketing. So they're so busy staging, they might get 2 properties to stage, then they cut off all the sales and the marketing, and then they sit at the end of the stage and go, oh, I've got no more clients lined up. Yeah, because your marketing came to an absolute halt. So it is so key to have that. And organic content, even if it's not getting the reach that you might think it might be getting in terms of likes and comments, people are always watching. And I think that's what's came through in your story here as well, Sarah, that people are always watching. They might be ghosting your messages, but they are watching your content silently. They might not be liking, they might not be commenting, but let's be honest, if you stalk anyone, you don't like and comment their stuff, right? You sit there silently and hide in the background so they know that you're not there, but then you're ready to raise your hand when you're ready to buy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm probably with stalking, I'm probably a little bit more out there with the agents and the developers. I like and comment on everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be much better with furniture in there.
Yeah. And it's definitely the right strategy when you're looking to almost secure a client for you. But people that are watching you certainly tend to sit there silent. And actually, some of my content that gets the least likes, the least engagement is the one that converts the most. Because really, when you're being that little bit more salesy or asking someone to buy in a call to action, that is the least engagement content you'll get. But it is the content that will convert. So you've just got an incredible story, Sarah. I love it. I love your work ethic. I love like that sort of culture you've built in your business that you'll chase everything down. And you mentioned there as well, like some people contact you and then they're not ready right away. We get the exact same thing. People contact us at the start of the year and then we stage it at the end. But the power is in the
Mhm.
follow-up, right? You follow everyone up.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Absolutely. And I think that's the thing. And until I get a no, I don't start following up. So, until they say, and I'll give them an easy out. I say, look, it's fine either way, just let me know. But sometimes I think it's just nice to have the yes or a no, and it's
Yeah.
sort of, but if not, I would just keep following up, just, I'm here if you need me. And I kind of stalk whatever their houses are doing that they've approached me about on Rightmove. So I'll say, oh, see, it's still for sale. Would you like me to stage? So that's worked a few times as well. But yeah, I still think there's a massive mind shift when it comes to agents and just homeowners about staging. And that's one thing I think is a little bit of my mission with Stage Spaces. It's being that affordable, that it's not for premium properties, it's for all properties. And it is the best marketing strategy if you're wanting to sell a property. And I think there's a change. I mean, I've seen, obviously, from you running your program, it's enabling people to come in and spread the word and just grow this community in this industry. And it's brilliant because I'm all for, it's very much collaboration over competition. And the more of us there are, the greater it's the greater good. The word is spread, and everybody hopefully will be busier from that, which is, I think, can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I love that mindset. I think a lot of people take the opposite mindset to that, and they're not allowed in our community if that's the way they think. We want collaboration over competition, 100%. But like when I started out staging, gosh, we're going up for like 9 years now. Wow. Like
Yeah.
people didn't know, like genuinely, I would say 95% of people that I spoke to didn't have a clue what it was. So when more people coming into the market, it's awesome. Like there's now more people, yeah, chasing us for business. Like you said, there's agents saying, can I work with you? Before that just
Mhm.
would not happen. So the industry is growing, is really exciting. And with that, people always ask me, oh, is the market going to become saturated? Not if you're the best at what you do. We win a ton of business because a lot of other businesses don't respond to people for 5 days. I mean, like, what? You run a business that lead is
Yeah.
hot, really hot for
Yeah.
4 hours. You can't not respond for a few days. So I always say it doesn't matter how many people are out there. If you're the creme de la creme, if you're the best at what you're doing in your area, that only supports you because we get people actually saying, thanks so much for following me up. I've not heard back from anyone else. There's a business
Absolutely.
opportunity in itself, eh?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think communication is a massive, massive part of business and business growth. I mean, I've actually, a few times dealt with your people because we've done a few essays and we've had some furniture kits and they've been fab, by the way. But the communication is very much how we run our business, and we follow up and the response. And, I try and respond to everything within not even a day, within hours, because we've got
Yeah.
these phones with us all the time. And even if I'm in the middle of a stage and I've got a new inquiry, I will make time on that stage to say, right, I need to message this person back, even if I'm really busy at the moment, but I'll get a quote over to you later today.
Yeah.
But my quoting, because of the back end system now that I've got, is so easy. I can quote within maybe 10 minutes sometimes. I've just seen a floor plan. I go, okay, that's that, and it's done. Whereas starting out, it's like, oh my God, before, again, we've done your training, it was sort of, I'd sit there with a spreadsheet and put everything down. Oh my God, it would take me days to do a quote. And now I'm kind of like, oh yeah, well and I think it's just knowing your inventory, knowing what works, knowing a property. And that's where, again, having a niche, because you know what works, if it's a
Yeah.
terraced house, it's A, B, and if it's a flat, okay, I always make sure, do I know how many stairs it's got? Is there a lift? Is there parking? Because if so, that will then add on maybe to a quote. There's something that is just I can pull up outside and it's a lot quicker to get in and out. So it's all those little nuances that actually, because we've done quite a lot of properties now, we learn, and that's why it becomes so much quicker. But it's also, I think the communication and responsiveness is massive. And yeah, I know myself, when I am contacting the business, if I don't get a response, I'll just sort of go, okay, yeah, I'll find somebody else. And that's what our clients do if we don't respond, isn't it?
100%. And it's so much work to get that client to then just to not respond to them. It's like, it blows my mind. But that comes with, look, it comes with having the right systems in place. It comes with not being burnt out by, if you don't have the right systems, if you don't have a sales system, that's why things get missed. That's why people don't get responded to. And it's why it's so crucial to your business. It's why I preach on it. And oh my God, I think we could just chat for about 9 hours and just never stop. But I do want to ask you one final question. And that question is,
sure.
For the person who wants to launch the business, it's their dream, it's their passion, but they're sitting there, they're not taking the action they're meant to, they've not went all in yet. What would you say to that person? Or what would you say to like your younger self when you were thinking of starting this?
Oh my gosh, I wish I'd done it earlier. I really do wish I'd done it earlier. Yeah, but you know what? If you're sitting there thinking, should I do this? Just do it. Because until you do it, you don't know if it's for you. And honestly, I think from where I came from, sort of 4 years ago, getting signed off with work-related stress and being in a really bad mental health state, to my confidence has improved. It's not just about the business, it's about who I am as a person. And I feel I've started to get Sarah back. I feel my kids have started to get their mum back, and Dave started to get his wife. I just feel more impact. Just do it, you know? And yeah, it's I think as long as you don't just expect things to happen just from doing a course, it has to be implemented. I mean, when I did your training, I would work every little bit as I went. I wouldn't just study the course and I go, okay, now I've got a business. It doesn't work like that. You have to put the work in, you have to put the time in. But if you do, the work is out there, and it's such a rewarding career. It is fabulous. And, you know, I think I probably would have still raised on my business, but I don't think I'd be quite as far ahead now if I hadn't implemented the training when I did and sort of made decisions around what I'd learned. So yeah, thanks, Liv.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Yeah. And I love it. I think you said you've done it twice as well, right? When you and your business partner sort of had that split, you went through it again because it's just sitting there,
Yeah.
right? It's ready to be implemented. But as you
Yeah.
said, I always say, like, watch a bit, implement it, watch a bit, implement it. Because by the time you're on like module 8, God, you will never remember what you learned in module 2 and implement that without doing it right afterwards. So it is that process. And as you said, I love, like, there's no rose tinted specs here. It's like, this isn't going to happen overnight, but look at your life in pretty much a short space of time. Look how it's transformed. You're getting yourself back. The business always works more on you than you'll ever work on it. And I've never found a sentence that's more true than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think, you know, it's been a massive learning curve as well. There's some people, you know, that are really supportive on your journey, and then there's other people that maybe they're just not supposed to be, and maybe it's me changing, but I think you just evolve, and everybody evolves in time, and it's just how you evolve. And for me, I'm 50 next year, which is quite scary. But it's never too late either. You know, I did this in my, you know, my late 40s, and I still, you know, I think I've got another good 10, 15 years left in me. Yes.
Oh, you got another 25? There are 25
Of
years.
work, maybe.
Come
Of
on.
work. Hopefully then I'll be able to take a bit more of a back seat, and then, you know, yeah, be traveling a bit more. That's what I'd like to do. So, but yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Sarah. Guys, if you're listening to this and you love Sarah's story, I mean, I love it. This is such a full circle moment, which is awesome. And you want to like start on the program that Sarah started on, then let's hear 50 in the comments. 50 is how many stages she's done this year so far, pretty much booked in. Which is so exciting, and one of my team can reach out to you. I just want to say thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being always so supportive in this community. To all the women that are here, you're always answering questions. You're always there for people, which I really appreciate, and so do the community. And thank you so much for sharing your story. And I just can't wait to see what's in the future for you.
Oh, thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a blast. No, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.